Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of The Happiness Retreat. I am your host, Kimberly Treves, and today we have the good fortune to be in conversation with my dear friend, the beautiful and multi-talented Debra Morgan, who is a veteran of the Marine Corps and an intuitive energy healer serving people who are feeling overwhelmed with the energies that they know are not their own. Hello, Debra, and thank you so much for taking your time to talk with us today.
Well, hello. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here today.
Deb and I have known each other for quite a while,
Yes,
uh, and we met in one of the most beautiful settings on the earth, Sedona, Arizona. So it's pretty mystical and magical, our connection.
for shaman training.
Yes, exactly. So, Deb, as all of our happiness retreat conversations are all about spirituality and the soul and becoming the master of your own energy, I am so happy you are here to tell us today how clearing detrimental energies is a vehicle for transformation. So, Deborah, can you please start by telling us a little bit about your background and your education? And I'm very interested in also what prompted you to become interested in joining the Marine Corps?
Well, I grew up in New Hampshire, and at the age of 17, going to cook, I graduated at 17, so going to college wasn't an option for me. Financially challenged, so I decided to join the military. So my dad wouldn't let me join the Navy, so I looked at the other branches, and I was very, very athletic in high school. So the Marine Corps was the most challenging, athletically, that is. And my dad told me I'd never make it. So you don't tell me I can't do something.
You don't tell any teenager they can't do something, clearly.
So that's the reason I joined the Marine Corps. And the funny thing is I had to prove to my dad that I could do it. So I came out of the Marine Corps with 100 women winning the athletic award. So I came
Wow.
home to show my dad, don't ever tell me I can't do something. So that was pretty cool. And from the Marine Corps, well, I spent a year in Japan and then came back to be stationed in California. And so when I got out of the Marine Corps, I ended up working for a defense contractor in California and as a financial analyst. So that started my career in defense contracting, which I was in defense contracting for over 30 years until recently. Um, and I just quit my job about 4 months ago to pursue my career in energy healing.
I find it so fascinating. And the story is so common that women, we do the things we do when we get out of high school and out of college because it's kind of either expected of us or in some cases we're dared that we can't succeed. So we make sure we do.
Right.
And then, then about 30 years later, that mystical magical year of 50-ish comes in. And so many women are waking up at around that time frame thinking, there is definitely something out there that is calling me and it's my heart's desire. Or sometimes it's one of those things where it's just like, I'm being pulled in this direction and I don't know why, but it's fascinating.
And also, you decide that corporate America is too stressful, and you take a look at your life and you go, do I really need that kind of stress in my life anymore when I know that my passion is elsewhere?
Yeah. So it's a beautiful thing when you can make that choice.
Right. And it wasn't an easy choice to make. It was, yeah.
Completely understood. But you obviously didn't make that decision without knowing you had started another journey previously parallel to your first path. So please tell us what started you on your path, uh, on your spiritual journey.
so, um, so many years ago, when my son was very young, he was 4 years old. We lived in California, and so I moved from California back to New Hampshire to be close to my family. And my son got very sick. he was diagnosed with cancer.
Oh my.
And yeah, so he was diagnosed with a very rare and aggressive form of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Mm.
So he did very well. He went through all the chemo, did extremely well, and was very, very blessed. But as he went through his growing up, he had a lot of health issues. He got shingles, at 16. He had all kinds of learning disabilities. But when he was a senior in high school, he was getting very ill and was in and out of the hospital in his senior year. Simultaneously, at the same time, I was getting very ill.
Mm.
And so we were both going in and out of the doctors. He was going in and out of the hospital. He was misdiagnosed. And and the medications they were putting him on were making him worse.
Oh,
And so
heartbreaking.
here I am, extremely ill at the same time, not realizing what's going on. So then I had to try to figure out what's going on with me, going back and forth to the doctors, and no one can figure out what's wrong. My body was 80% numb. I was having debilitating migraines. My hands were getting all crippled up. And so it wasn't searching for just me, it was searching for my son, not realizing we both had the same thing. So I started digging for truth. It's that analyst in me. It was like digging, I have to find out what's going on. So then I watched a movie. It was called Under Your Skin or Under Our Skin, about Lyme disease.
Ah.
Realizing, oh my God, that's me. And then realizing it was also my son. So what had happened with him is because he was a cancer survivor and all the chemos that he went through, it damaged his vagus nerve. So the damage to his vagus nerve went from like his heart to his head. So he was having chest pains, and they thought he was having heart attacks, and then it went to his brain and it was causing problems in his brain. And and for me it was causing all these other health issues, but the doctors wouldn't listen to us. So traditional medicine wasn't helping us.
Right.
So I started seeking out non-traditional healers. Amazing, amazing people, and I am so blessed to have found them. And so what happened is, so I was doing all this healing and I was getting better, but my son wasn't as open to some of this stuff. But when I started learning some of this stuff and worked on him, he started getting a lot better. It was amazing how much better he was getting. So I started off with Reiki, and that was helping him, but he felt claustrophobic. And so then I started all these other healing modalities. And then I remember when I stumbled on Arcturian Healing, that's when it blew open for him. And he's like, Mom, I don't know what you're doing, but keep doing it. And he started getting so much better. And and then I realized that he was, he's very sensitive to a lot of things. So he didn't respond the way normal people did. So I had to treat him differently, because he would pick up other people's energies around him. So I had to learn how to release a lot of that stuff. And then the Lyme disease was compromising both of our immune systems. And so it was very, very challenging, but what I've learned from going through that experience and bringing the energy healing into it, it was very amazing. And I feel so blessed to have learned what I did going through that, and having all the friends that helped me through the process.
So I'm going to back up a sec. So when you figured out that you and your excuse me, and your son had contracted Lyme's disease,
Mhm.
Had you told your mainstream doctors that that's what you thought the problem was?
Yes. And my primary care physician said to me, I'm skeptical,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm listening.
Okay.
And so I had a 3-page paper with all my symptoms.
Okay.
And then so he put me on doxycycline and some other prescription medicines that made me violently ill, which is typical when you go on Lyme disease, because when you're killing off the bacteria in your body, um, you're going to get worse before you get better.
Right.
The problem is that was just touching the surface of what was going on, and it wasn't taking care of the root of the problem. And when you go through Lyme disease, it's a lot of people who have Lyme disease, um, they get it really, really bad. It's due to traumas that they've experienced in their life. So someone else may have gotten bit from a tick just like me, and they wouldn't have responded the same way as me because they may not have gone through the same type of traumas in their life. So because of my son's and my experience with him going through his cancer, and then when he was getting sick and in and out of the hospital, that intense stress upon me at that point in time caused it to kick into gear for me. And so he tried to be helpful, but it really wasn't helping me.
Right. Because it was just addressing the one thing that they know how to address with
Correct.
Lyme's disease, but
Right.
you had this, and I can imagine all of the times you're someone in and out of the hospital, it was just as traumatic every time. So it was just multiple trauma over multiple trauma
Right.
collecting in both of your systems.
Correct.
Okay. Wow, that's intense. That's not a normal, oh, I just got bit by a tick, but I was perfectly healthy before then. So, you mentioned about being energetically susceptible to other energies than your own.
Right.
Um, and as we all know, when someone walks into a room, if they've had a really good day, you automatically want to go over and talk to them and just be in their aura, in their field, because they're exuding this beautiful energy. And on the flip side, if someone has had a really bad day and they walk into a room or even get on the phone with you, you know that they are just spewing out negative type of energy to you.
Yes.
So I imagine it's not as easy to know where you're picking up this negativity because you're not speaking with everyone. And on top of that, there's also what you've come to describe and explain to me as detrimental energy. So would you please walk us through what detrimental energies are and what is so important in your estimation to work with these energies?
So detrimental energy is energies that cause harm to our surroundings, to our bodies, to the environment in which we live. So if someone is spewing out a lot of negativity, um, that gets put out to the environment around us. And many people are harmed by that energy. So if someone is highly empathic, um, they're going to be harmed by that. We'll use like the veterans in the service. When they go out to these deployments and they're in these environments where they're defending our country, that is very detrimental to their bodies. We have a little here. It's very detrimental to their bodies. So if they're highly empathic, they're going to be picking up this detrimental energy,
Mm-hmm.
and it's stored in their body unless they can find some way to release it. And this may be some of them, it may be energy healing, it may be meditation, it may be qigong, and many different things. But a lot of people don't know how to release it, and it keeps getting stored in their body and stored in their body. And
So like how would I know in my body, what kind of symptoms would I have in my body if I were storing these detrimental energies?
a lot of anxiety and depression would be two key
Okay.
issues. A
Okay.
lot of tension in your shoulders and in your neck, migraines, another big one as well.
Mm. So even, you might just think, "Oh, I just don't feel well today." And then I know from experience it can become this habitual low grade I don't feel well. So it's really hard when you're in this pattern that you don't feel well to even know how badly you really do feel.
Right. I can give you an example. Like my son knows now if he goes someplace and he's around that energy, he knows he'll call me and says, "Mom, you got to do your stuff on me," because he would have been someplace, whether it's a grocery store or whether a gas station, wherever the energy isn't right for him, and he'll pick something up and he just knows that he doesn't feel right anymore, or he may be sick to his stomach, or he just may feel heavy all over, and he'll ask me to remove that detrimental energy from him.
I think that's fabulous that he is that aware now, obviously with your help, and he's working with you on this to stay healthy and to be the healthiest that he can be. Um, so these energies can come from people being agitated and aggravated, right?
Correct.
Um, but can you talk a little bit about when these people are on a certain land or in a certain building, how does the energy that they brought there affect that land or that building?
So like if you have if you're in a workplace, for example, a large company, and a lot of people are bringing a lot of detrimental energy there, that energy will sit there. If you have these large corporations, when
Mhm.
you're a lot of people are very stressed working in these corporations, you can feel it when you're there. And that's why I just left my last job, because the energy was so intense there from all the stress of people working such long hours, that I made the decision not to be part of that anymore. But and all that can be released from that environment. And then this, you'll see the stress level decrease from all the workers around you. And as a matter of fact, before I left my last company, my boss used to ask me to clear the space of our office when it got too stressful. So, because he knew what I did, and he says, "Deb, can you do your stuff?" And I would clear the space. Or before some big business meetings, if we had to go into negotiations, I would clear the space of the conference room so that negotiations go smoother.
Interesting. Interesting that he knew that and he even asked you because he
Yeah,
could clearly feel it, right?
right, right. But the thing is, when I do that kind of stuff, I can't clear the people that are going into that room because I don't have that right. I need permission to clear a person.
Mhm.
So I could only clear the room, not
Yeah.
any people. So
Okay. Okay. So again, then here's another clear example of you could not only have a person come into your field, but
mhm,
you could go into a place and actually start to feel down or even more stressed or
absolutely.
uneasy.
Yes, absolutely. Happens all the time.
Okay. All right. So give me an example, please, of because I know you do, and you mentioned you do these clearings for homes and for land. Um, what were some of you mentioned your work, but are there any other examples of people asking you to clear a certain property or a building for them?
Yes. I had a client who had just purchased it, just built a new home. And when they moved in, her daughter started having nightmares and they started seeing dark shadows. So she knew the work I did and gave me a call to do a clearing on her house. So I did a clearing on the house, and I can also work with the spirits of the land to help clear the land energetically as well. If there's any past chemicals on the land, I can't clear the chemicals, but I can clear it energetically. So after I cleared the land, they stopped seeing the dark shadows, and the little girl stopped having nightmares. And I checked in with her a few months later just to make sure everything was still okay. And everything was still fine. And I've had a number of examples like that. So I know it works.
For sure. And luckily, your friends know that you do this when they do come into a situation like that.
Yep.
So let's go back to the veterans because I know that they're near and dear to your heart as a veteran from the Marine Corps. And I know that you want to help them, but have you worked with any veterans yet?
Yes, I when I first started out, I was working at a homeless veterans shelter in New Hampshire.
Mm-hmm.
And when I first went in, and it was all males, there was no females in the shelter, and they see this female walk in who was a Marine Corps veteran, and they wanted to have nothing to do with me. So, yeah, they just looked at me and turned around and walked away. And one of them was a former Navy SEAL, and he just was like, "Who is this chick?" But one of them had lost one of his fingers and was in a lot of pain and said, "Fine, I'll let you work on my hand and we'll just see what you can do." And so I worked.
Wait. He would let you work on a missing body part.
Well, his hand was in a lot of pain.
Oh, okay. He wasn't missing.
It was missing a finger, a half
Oh,
of a finger, but the
okay.
whole hand was in pain.
Okay.
I don't know if it was a phantom pain or not, but so he said, "I'll let you," he was kind of humoring me and said, "I'll let you do it."
Right.
So I started working on his hand and he's going, "Wait a second, the pain's going away." And then he's going, "Okay, fine." Kind of like testing me. "Fine, try my knee." So I started working on his knee and his knee pain went away. And the other guys are going, "Huh, fine. You think you can fix me?" And sat down. And
Oh,
so I worked on
nice.
the next one and it would help out. And so what I started doing is it was the summertime. So I would set up in the backyard and come a couple times a month on a Sunday, and I'd pull out my Reiki table and I'd start working on them, and it helped them out significantly. It helped them with a lot of their pain. They had a lot of neck pain. Um, the Navy SEAL guy really had gone through a lot, and he was in a lot of pain, and it helped him out a lot.
What about their PTSD? Because clearly, even being sent to war would be traumatic for me. So, what about with when you worked with these veterans? Did it help them with their PTSD?
Yes, they said it was helping them a lot. So I think their nightmares were decreasing. Their headaches were definitely decreasing. But for me to sit down and have a conversation about what they went through and to see if a lot of that went away, they wouldn't open up to me with regards to that. But just by saying that their nightmares and their headaches were decreasing, um, that's pretty big.
Wow, that's a gift for them. That's great. And I love how these big burly men came around to this woman walking in the room.
Well, and on top of it, none of them were former Marines.
Oh, so you weren't even on their level because you were a different part of the
I was different
system.
than them. So it was like, yeah,
So, like maybe if you were a Navy SEAL, you would have had a little more respect by at least one person in the room from the get-go.
yeah, yeah.
I love it. We're all the same. Literally, we're just all the same.
So
So, tell me, so you've given us some examples of how your modalities have helped. So
mhm.
can you give us a little bit information about which modalities you use and about the divine beings that you call in to support your sessions?
So the modalities I'm trained in about 7 or 8 modalities.
Okay.
So I'm a Reiki master for in 3 types of Reiki: Yasui Reiki, Shambhala, and Arcturian Reiki. Um, I'm trained in Arcturian Healing, which is my favorite. I'm a pranic healer, and I do pranic crystal healing as well. I'm trained in integrated energy therapy. Um, Trying to think of all the list. So those are primarily what I use. And when I do a session, I call in what I call is a healing vortex, and um, I call upon God. I
Mhm.
call upon the healing angels and the ascended masters. It's all divine beings that I call in to do my work, and they work through me. I don't actually do the healing; they work through me. So it's nothing but divine love and light.
So you are a channel for divine energy, and the way you really get a solid connection with that divine energy is um, asking assistance from specific divine beings so that you know where the energy is coming from and you
Yes.
know that it's all divine and beautiful and love. Okay. All right. Well, I have to say that Deb did a land clearing for me, and it wasn't because it was horribly weird here, but there was just this one spot in the basement that I would go near, and I was like, "Yeah, I am not having this by myself." And, I'm a grown woman. I should not have that problem, but I just was not comfortable being down there by myself. And actually, it's funny, there was a rug in this room that I walked in here, and the previous owners had left it for us. And I walked in here and I was like, yeah, I ain't having that either. So I brought that downstairs. So I think it maybe wasn't the downstairs that was the problem. It was the rug that was a problem. I don't know. But funny, this was an office. And, maybe there were not pleasant transactions between the previous owner and his clients, or the previous owner and his boss, or I don't know what. But the really awesome thing when we had the session was um, it was a remote session, and Deb called me and said, I'm going to begin, right?
Mhm.
And I was in a meditative state, but I was writing down a lot of the things that I was seeing. And though nothing really had anything to do with the house itself, when we got back on the phone afterwards, it was almost line for line the same thing that we had both experienced. And you can't make that up. You can't make that up. Do you often get that type of feedback?
A lot, but my gift is more healing. So I'm not, if someone's expecting me to give them um, a psychic channel for what happens, they might not get what they're looking for. So
Right.
my healing gifts are very strong, but I'm not always going to get all the hits that they might want necessarily to tell them that there was Indians on their land before or something like that.
Right, right.
So I get that a lot, but not always.
Yeah.
But
So
the
when you do
healing,
your land clearing, people are asking you for the assistance, and so they are giving you your permission. And do you also connect to the land and ask for the permission, or the building? How does that work?
the land, and if I'm doing the house clearing, I ask permission from the home.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Now, how about your one-on-one sessions? Are they can you do a remote for that as well?
I've been doing all of them remote now with everything
Okay.
going on with the
Uh,
current situation.
okay. And so, what are some of the reasons, or what are some of the yeah, what are some of the reasons that people call you? What are they trying to get relief from when they give you a call?
So, well, my specialty is removing the detrimental energy. So I work a lot with PTSD and trauma release.
Hmm.
And the autoimmune right now is a big thing with everything going on. Um, I can work on many different things, whether it's someone with, the cancer or something that would fall into the autoimmune, or headaches. But mostly it's, when you remove the detrimental energy, you allow your body to heal. So when you start doing that, your body has the ability to heal itself. You just got to give it the right tools to do it. So whether that's removing the detrimental energy from energy healing, or whether it's a different type of healing, that starts opening things up for everybody. So you know that's that's a big thing for me, is the detrimental energy. So
Yeah.
But I can do all types of attune people to be more spiritually inclined, but that's not necessarily my specialty.
Okay. But so it could also be pain in the body, not just,
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely. But that when you have pain in the body, it's usually detrimental energy that's causing that blockage.
right. But people call you because they have pain and
Correct.
they can't get relief for the pain, or they call you because they have anxiety or depression. There's a variety of physical reasons they call you.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right. And as veterans are near and dear to your heart, I think you give them a discount.
I give them a 20% discount. Yes.
Oh. Even the men that don't trust you, you give them a
I
20%
don't
discount.
trust me. Absolutely.
I love it. Well, I mean, Deb, you and I have we've had beautiful retreats together, and we've known each other for quite a while. And I know, I mean, we were in Sedona, and we were in, I want to say Boynton Canyon, but I'm not exactly sure if that's where we were, but you led a meditation up there. And between the energies of the land and your meditation, it was angelic. It was absolutely beautiful. So I know how powerful and how loving and kind and absolutely pure your intentions are. So I know that's why things work the way they do for you, because you have a pure intention and you are just a channel for the pure energy that the universe has for us to heal in. So I thank you for bringing that to all of us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, you're very welcome. So, to anyone, I'm sorry, and for everyone watching, oh, so by the way, all of your information is going to be posted with this video. So, anyone watching can get in touch with you and have
Mhm.
a chat with you and determine whether or not how quickly they want to work with you. How about that?
Fantastic. Thank you.
And to everyone watching, thank you for joining us for this episode of the Happiness Retreat. I hope you have gotten some inspiration, some motivation, some guidance, and some clarity in your connection with your soul and in becoming the master of your own energy. So until next time.